Welcome, everybody, to episode 52 of Disney with the Ducks. This is our 1-year anniversary show. I can't believe we made it this long. This was, people who barely knew each other met in a corral at a race, and now here we are a year later, and we come out with some fun content every week and just get together and laugh and, help each other out a little bit. So this is amazing. I don't know. I'm very excited about this episode. So within the last couple of weeks, Jody posted some questions out in our Disney with the Ducks Facebook group, which if you're not a member, you should come join that for some fun discussion. But Jody's been putting questions out to ask us anything you want to know about us, Disney related, running related, completely unrelated to any of that. So we got a lot of good questions from the community. So tonight we're going to try to give you an answer to each one of those questions so that you guys can get to know us a little bit better. And, if you hear something we say that really strikes you or you have a similar interest, reach out to us. We're all available on Facebook through the group and through Messenger. So hopefully this helps us build our community a little bit more. All right. So we're going to start reading through the questions and we'll go around and I'll give our answers. First question is from some guy. I think we just got to kick this guy out of the group. Jeff Positano. My question is, why have you guys not voted Gene off yet?
Lonnie, you want to field that one?
Well, it's not for lack of trying. I have built a case against Gene. I have lobbied resources, advertised billboards, radio ads, all saying ban Gene. But for some reason, he's slippery. He just stays in. I don't know. I feel like a failure.
That contract must be ironclad.
Ironclad.
Yeah. He just keeps showing up. He's like Milton from Office Space.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And we all know out of all the Ducks that Gene by far has the most Disney knowledge out of everybody, right? Like that's without a doubt.
Sure.
So,
Well, he keeps telling us that.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, we all bring a unique perspective to the show. So Gene's right there with us. All right. Next one is from Moira. I hope I'm saying your name right. I probably butchered it both times, but so she asks, love your shows, running and Disney insights and group banter. Oh, well, thank you.
There you go.
What have you read, listened to, streamed, or watched lately that you would recommend? So Jody, do you want to kick us off with that one?
Sure. So I think you've heard John and I both talk before that we both loved The Handmaid's Tales. So that is something that we completed, or at least not John and I watched it together, but we went and watched it and talked lots of back and forth about it. Yeah. I just started the second season of Your Honor, which I really like. I think that's what is it? Showtime, maybe? I don't know. But that's been the first season was really good, and they just started the second season. So those are two shows that I like. It's hard because I try to find shows that both Tim and I like together, and that doesn't always equal to the same things. So
that's hard to do. Yeah,
it is. I've always been a huge fan of The Amazing Race, so that's kind of a constant. And I'm a sports girl, so normally there's sports on in our house of some sort. Let's see what else. Podcasts. I've always listened to Wait, Don't Tell Me on NPR. It's one of my favorites. It makes me laugh. It's only an hour long. It comes out on the weekends. I love it. That's probably the first podcast that I started streaming on a regular basis. And books, I just finished Dinners with Ruth by Nina Totenberg about her friendship with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So Ruth, yeah. So that was my last book that I just finished. So yeah, there we go.
Awesome. All right. That's some good recommendations, Jody. And when you texted me about that Wait, Don't Tell Me one earlier today, I listened to it while I was cleaning around the house. And yeah, I was laughing. I'm glad I wasn't in public because I would have looked like you probably looked in public.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm an NPR dork, as you can tell. Like my book and my podcast were both NPR. So
they got some good content. I like it a lot too. Kevin, so what have you been listening to, reading, streaming lately that you'd recommend?
So no big surprise, but almost all Star Wars. For shows, I've watched Andor and started season 2 of Bad Batch. Andor, I think is a new spin on some Star Wars content. I really like it. Some people may not, but I like the fact that it's a little bit different, but still incorporates the Star Wars universe in a little bit different way. Book-wise, I've listened to a lot of books lately. that I can recommend. One is Dark Disciple. It's a book with Asajj Ventress is in it, and that's a really good one. Then Padawan, that's Obi-Wan as a young Padawan and traveling. He runs away from the Jedi Temple and goes on an adventure. That's a pretty good book. And then Shadow of the Sith. So Shadow of the Sith, I think I've talked before about, the sequel movies or the sequel trilogy. The last one I had a little bit is kind of lower on my list. After going through that book, it kind of moves it up a little more. It fills in a lot of the gaps that the movie didn't flesh out. So to me, it made the movie a lot better. So I would recommend that one. If you want to give Rise of Skywalker a second chance, I would read that book and then go back and watch it. So
And what was the book called again, Kevin?
It's called Shadow of the Sith.
Shadow of the Sith. Okay. Nice. All right. That sounds like one we should check out. Lonnie, what about you?
I just finished binging Halo. Way back. I know that's been out for a little bit, but we got Paramount Plus and went back and I started watching that and finished that. We just started Jack Ryan as well, the third season of that
show.
So
That is good.
fired up to watch that one too. I kind of go in sequence. I wanted to do Halo first and finish that, and then go to Jack Ryan. So did that. Also, I've been streaming Bluey basically nonstop. So
Yeah.
I'm on.
That's a
I
good
think
call.
I finished them all. Even the new episodes. So I've been Blueyed out.
Yeah.
Grandson's in here, just so we keep it on a constant stream. So that's been the foundation of what I've watched, and then I kind of squeeze those other things in around Bluey when he goes to sleep. So
Bluey is the best, man.
It is such a good show.
Yeah.
Bluey is. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. So doing that podcast, I tend to go with the old reliables, a lot of Disney podcasts, which I love. Also like Dateline and things of that nature as well. So if I have a long drive for work, I'll pop in the Dateline because it just makes it that much more interesting for me. And for reading, it's funny. I've been doing a lot of, more around my men's Bible group. So, we just finished the Purple Book. Now we're starting to in-depth look at Ephesians. So we're kind of reading into that, following Paul's journey and all that kind of good stuff. So that's been extremely interesting to me, just kind of getting a more of a different perspective on it. So that's what I've been up to.
Awesome.
Nice. All right.
A podcast I meant to mention, a podcast that I've really enjoyed and I've gone back and listened to when I've had extra time. And it's actually produced by one of our lizards, Dennis Keithley. It's called Podcast Stardust. So if you want to get some in-depth Star Wars stuff, go take a listen to his podcast. It's really good.
Oh, I didn't realize Dennis had a Star Wars podcast. That's awesome.
He has several others too, but that's the one that I gravitate toward.
Wow.
So then I can still text all my questions to Kevin and have him answer them all.
Do my best.
Kevin, I don't understand this. Explain this to me. What about you, John?
All right.
Yeah.
So for me, something I've read lately that I really enjoyed was Michelle Obama's latest book, The Light We Carry. It's a lot about like relationships and friendships and just making sure you're being yourself. That type of book. So a lot different than her kind of memoir from her last book. But I just really like anything Michelle Obama does. So I kind of went into it probably a little biased, but I just loved it. From a show standpoint, me and Katie have been watching a lot of Yellowstone together. We finally got all caught up on that and all the sequels. So just waiting for new ones to come out. But I love Welcome to Wrexham. And Jody, I was thinking about you when I was watching it earlier today. Have you seen Welcome to Wrexham?
What is it
Okay,
on?
so it's on Hulu. Rob McElhenney from Always Sunny, him and Ryan Reynolds bought this soccer club in
Yes, I
Wrexham,
know this
Wales.
show. Yes.
Yeah. And it's awesome. Like, I just love it. Now, all of a sudden, I'm this like lowest level English League football club fan. And, because normally
You and
Chelsea's my
everybody else.
favorite team. But yeah, now all of a sudden, I'm like, I need Wrexham to win and move up and eventually get to the Premier League because I love these guys. Because you get to know like all the players and stuff.
Sorry.
Oh.
The name of the show escaped me. So, but I
Okay. No, yeah, because I was thinking about you because you guys all love soccer so much. So that's a really good show, just because it's cool. Because I'll be open. Like, I have a pretty big man crush on Ryan Reynolds and Rob
How can you
McElhenney,
not?
both.
I mean,
Yeah, they're both hilarious. Like, Always Sunny is one of my favorite shows. So I love that show. As far as a podcast goes, I really like Armchair Expert with Dax
Mhm.
Shepard. I think they have such a wide range of topics. They talk to all these different people, and it's interesting getting to know these people that you only know from their characters on TV. And on top of that, he brings in experts in different fields of psychology and anthropology. So it's really kind of cool. You get a pretty broad range of knowledge from that show. So that's kind of my things that I would recommend lately.
and I think it goes without saying, and I think we should put this out there that we all listen to the Be Our Guest podcast. That's all.
Oh,
How
for
we
sure.
met. We're all
Yeah.
lizards. Like none of us actually said that, but I think we should put it on record. Like that.
Well,
That's
that's foundational.
That's how
is-
we all came
that's
together.
Yeah.
the foundation of
That's foundation.
So I wanted to make sure that we had, in case someone doesn't know that podcast who's listening to us, but that's definitely one that we all listen to and support. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. So
Good point,
Good
Jody.
catch. Good catch. Good catch. Yes.
All right, so going to the next question, Jessica, she wants to know, what is the deal with not liking Thor Ragnarok? I'm still not over that. Jessica, we were talking about this pre-show. We can't figure out. We remember somebody said they didn't like it, but we couldn't
That would
figure
be
out
me.
who. Lonnie,
That would
okay.
be me.
Maybe it was me
Yeah.
and Kevin talking.
not me,
before
because
you
I
started.
don't know what that's about. So
So Jody's going to be with me and saying that she didn't like it. First off, I think it was just a little too comical. I like the Dark Thor. I like my favorite Thor, and I love Thor. But my
Mhm.
favorite was actually the Dark Elves. So the second actual Thor, that's the kind of Thor I'm used to seeing. This one with the screaming goats and
Yeah.
No, that's the newest one. That's
yeah,
Love and Thunder.
exactly. And that's why I didn't like it. So I'm
Oh.
going that. So I didn't like the screaming goats. I didn't like how it was too much comedy in it. I think they kind of did Thor kind of a disservice
Yeah.
in that one. To me.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, I just like the original kind of Thor thing, right? A little bit more serious.
That's
So
fair.
so
I like the funny one, but
I can understand that too.
yeah, I can see your point
you
of view,
actually like the screaming goats?
Yeah, I liked the newest one I liked, but like me and Katie were watching it the other day and we had to stop watching it. It got a little too intense for what we're going through right now. But I liked that. That was funny. I thought Ragnarok was much better though than Love and Thunder.
Yes.
I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, I think it was better.
So I think
I have no
if you
idea
have to
what
force
happened.
rank them, second Thor, first Thor, Ragnarok, and then Love and Thunder. Even
Wow.
Ragnarok was kind of out there, it
Mhm.
still had a serious tone to it, right? At the so
Yeah,
I
it
kind of like that more.
Yeah,
But,
Love and Thunder was it was a 2.5 hour Guns N' Roses video, which I mean, as a kid who grew up during the 80s, I love that.
Yeah.
mhm.
But yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming from there.
So you guys
All
were
right.
like, I got a survey from Disney Plus a couple days ago, and I had to fill out all this information. And was like, what that you identify with? And was Star Wars and Disney and Pixar and Marvel. And Marvel, I was like, way down here. I'm like, I don't even know Marvel. I don't even know. I've watched maybe one of those shows. I couldn't tell you anything about it, but I'm like, the rest of them I know. I wasn't like Kevin level of Star Wars, but at least I know somewhat about that. But I was cracking up. I'm like, they must be like, what is this lady answering this question? She has no idea. I don't. No clue.
That's too bad. You got it. You
Well,
got to
that's
at
cool.
least. Well, yeah. All right. Okay. So Rick asked the next question, and Rick asked because we have a Rick F as well. But Rick asks, "Love the Release the Quacken segments, especially. I hope they continue now that none of you want to run Dopey with my wife and I anymore. Was it something I said at the 5K? What did you guys do to listener Rick to anger him and his wife?"
I think it was
Come
that we said we were done with Dopey. I think
Mhm.
that's kind of the root of it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rick. I am hoping to run Dopey in 2025, so I'll run with you and your wife. I probably won't be able to keep up, but I'll try. I'll at least see you in the queue or in the corrals in the morning.
Yeah, Rick, we're not done with you. It's just this was a hard Dopey, not
was
from the
rough.
race distance, but
It was
just
so
dealing with the other stuff. So when you're just kind of mad, just kind of like, you know what, I'm done. I'm sure 2025 comes around. If John wants to do it, pull my arm. I may do it with him. But so basically, what I'm saying, Rick, it's not you. It's us.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
not
not you,
you.
it's us, Rick.
It's us.
That was a
You're
rough.
good. You're good with us.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I've not decided on my retirement, but I don't know that we will be doing the release the Quackens again next year. I'm not sure. We haven't really talked about it, so I just want to be honest about that, Rick. So
Yeah, and I know those were fun when we were all
Mhm.
training for something, but I know I had to drop out. We'll figure it out.
Mhm.
But all right, going on to another Rick F. From the Monorail Tales podcast. Speaking of podcasts, so Rick asks, "What's been your favorite moment of podcasting in the past year?" I mean, I'll say, like, honestly, it's been the whole thing. I can't pick out like one moment. There's been so many times where I was giggling so hard that my cheeks hurt and I was crying. So
I would say the outtakes, the things
The
that
outtakes
you
are
don't
amazing.
hear because they're incredibly inappropriate. Those are probably my favorite moments. And normally it has to do with John saying something and giggling, and then he turns bright red, and then he laughs for the next 10 minutes, and then that's typically the part. But I just like spending the time with friends, and really, I agree though, John. It's your cheeks hurt afterwards. Like you have a really good time, and these people make me smile.
Yeah. And I would go with Jody. It's just getting together with this group. I look forward to it throughout the week. And then having a release the Quack, having a release when we all get together on the line. And it's just, it's a great group of people hanging out. My best moment when I almost got Gene kicked off, but at the last minute, two of the people I convinced to get him off turned. It's like, let's give him another chance. So that went from being my best moment in podcast to being my most disappointing moment in podcasting. But the fight continues.
all right,
Kevin, what about you?
I mean, I'm kind of with all you guys. I mean, that just so many different things. I don't even know if I could pick a favorite, but the fact that we've been doing this for a year and you guys have helped me get out of my shell and do something like this, it's helped me in more ways than just, getting to know you all and becoming family with you guys. But, it's helped me get out of my shell. It's helped me at work. It's helped me at church. It's helped me throughout all my life, just being able to carry on conversations and do something that, is outside my comfort zone, but started to become comfortable. And, after a year, I feel like it's been a great thing to be part of. So.
yeah, it's definitely improved my life for sure too. Just knowing you guys, not even doing the show, but then the show just provides so much fun and just like you said, Jody, interaction scheduled each week with friends, which I think we all need. It's just good for the soul to get together with friends and talk about topics you enjoy. So,
And I want to give a special shout out, just because he's not on tonight, to Jeff, who edits all these. So all those giggle fests and things that have to be cut because of various reasons, that's normally Jeff's job. So if you haven't had a chance to thank Jeff is definitely, he deserves a raise on this unpaid podcast. So
I mean, do you really want to thank Jeff for removing all the hilarious things I say? Sure, it would cost us our family-friendly rating, but
Oh man, we'll be canceled or something, man.
Oh,
We'll be
sure.
like a bunch of canceled ducks.
oh man, you guys really are the best though. This is all right. So Rick has another question. Rick asks, what one food item from Walt Disney World do you wish you could have at home so you can enjoy it whenever you like? One food item. I'll go first. I'm gonna say I would want the churros from Nomad Lounge. I want those with their dipping sauces in front of me all the time. That's my one thing.
I can answer for Jeff. It's the mac and cheese at Nomad Lounge. That's some good stuff, though.
Nomad Lounge is the best. So two of the ducks have picked Nomad Lounge as their one food item.
And mine is probably the Ronto wraps at Galaxy's Edge. Just the atmosphere and everything. If you could bring that home too, a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be pretty solid. Man. Jody.
This is tough. There's so many things that I love, but I think I'm going to go with the ice cream and the warm brioche sandwich in the French Pavilion, just because that's something I can't get at home and I won't make at home. So I think that's going to be my answer. There's so many though. It's so hard to pick.
There's that macaroon ice cream sandwich too
Mhm.
in France that I'm gonna bring that one home too.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad you said that though, because I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
All right, Lonnie, what are you bringing home?
You know, man, I'm thinking the bread service from Sanaa,
Mm.
but I've been really craving the fish and chips from Epcot.
Oh, good one.
I mean, I've been wanting them. I mean, literally. I mean, I'm like, I really want some fish and chips. And wife's like, you want to go over it? No, it's not the same. I want the fish and chips from Epcot. So I'm going to say fish and chips.
See, I thought you were going to say the popcorn at Epcot.
Not anymore because, as we know, that popcorn. I'm gonna, yeah. I think I'm gonna be. I think I'm cutting out that popcorn for a little bit. It's tainted.
Right.
That was tainted corn.
That's rough. That food poisoning from popcorn is always terrible.
Yeah.
All
And you know
right.
what, John? The worst thing about it is, at the race, we run past that cart, and on the marathon,
so you
I think
had to see
it
it
was
again.
open, and the guy behind there, like when I ran by it, with the marathon, he was like this. He's like,
He knew what he did.
He knew.
You know what you did.
Man. All right. Okay, so Donnie's asking us a question. He says, what do you guys like best about podcasting? So I think we kind of answered that one when we were answering Rick's question earlier. So it sounds like we all enjoy each other as kind of the best part.
Oh yeah.
All right. So we've got another John, also without an H. So there's now two of us in the group. Okay, so what was the beginning of your Disney fandom? And, you know, I think we did actually have an episode on what we love about Disney where we kind of all went through this. But let's answer John's question and put it out there. Like, what really started this for you guys? Lonnie, you want to tell us what started your Disney love?
Sure. You know, it's my first Disney trip. I didn't go as a kid, right? So, but I did go. I brought my kids in my family, I guess, when my son was 6, my daughter was 3, and all we did, it was actually the week of Thanksgiving, is when they said that it was the best time to go because we read this book, and yet it wasn't the best time to go, and it was freezing and it was packed, and all we did was chase characters all around, right? So I really didn't have a good experience with it. So we didn't go back for quite some time after that. But then turned around, we gave it one more shot, and I went with my wife and this time my daughter, because my son was out in school, and it was just completely different. You know, we approached it different. We actually, did a little bit more research, and was ready for it this time. We didn't chase characters. We rode rides, and we took it easy. And from that point, it just was this. I was hooked. So it was different. I approached it. In fact, when we left. I was saying, okay, we need to convert these tickets to annual passes. And it's just been, we've been there ever since, and it's just been a progression, right? It went from that to multiple trips to Run Disney races to DVC, and it just kind of, you go down that rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think that's kind of how it happened for a lot of us. It spins out of control.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin, what about you?
Mine was, like Lonnie, my first time going, we went like Jeff and went commando and wore ourselves out at the parks. At the time, it was 1988, I think, or 86. And it was Epcot and Magic Kingdom. And we did that. But it was the innovation of Epcot really caught me because that's kind of the way my brain works. And I love the kind of futuristic kind of things. And at that time, Epcot was super, super futuristic, for my little mind at the time. And that just, gravitated toward Figment. And that's where he was my first. I was able to pick up one thing from Disney, and that was my one thing that I picked up. So that's where mine began.
And I think, Kevin, you mentioned before on the show that Epcot and Journey into Imagination and Figment kind of helped inspire you to become an engineer, right?
Right.
So, yeah. So
this was after I wanted to be a farmer. When I realized I couldn't do that, then like, okay, maybe I can make robots, and the robots can farm.
There you go. That's perfect. All right, Jody, what kind of kicked off your fandom?
We went twice when I was a kid, and the second time I was in high school, and that's really when I fell in love with Epcot. But I fell in love with the country part of Epcot. I really loved exploring over there. And then it had been, it wasn't cool to go in college, so I don't think I went then. But I had a work trip when Tim and I were very newly married, and we went to the Grand Floridian for work, so I was not paying for it, and that just really changed a lot. We just had a lot of fun being adults. That's when Hollywood Studios was MGM, and I don't know, it was just fun to go as an adult and experience all that. And then we brought our daughter when she was 3, and then that just kind of, everything again, like Lonnie, it spiraled.
That's what happens.
It does.
And that's what happened with us too. It was like we went, my love of Disney as a whole started as a kid with the music from Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Little Mermaid, because those were just right in my wheelhouse. I was a band nerd and I loved that kind of stuff. So the music from those really pulled me in. And then we didn't go to Disney until, we went, when we lived in Florida, we went one day for my 22nd birthday and I absolutely hated it. So we actually left the park after about 2 hours and just went over to Universal and went to Margaritaville. But then we came back when our kids were 6 and 3, our oldest 2. And I just absolutely loved it. There's a picture of me with Kara on my shoulders and we're watching the fireworks from the dessert party when it was in Tomorrowland Terrace. And it's like a blurry, not great quality picture, but it's one of my all-time favorite pictures because I just remember that day. We did, Kevin, like you talked about, we did Commando. We got there, we rope dropped, and we had these 2 little kids, and we went all the way through the end of the fireworks, and it was the perfect day. It was just great. And ever since then, we've been hooked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's seeing it through your kids' eyes makes just a difference.
There you go. I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And now here I am, the one that's begging my kids to go to Disney for vacation. So,
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Rhonda has asked us a few questions. The first one is your ultimate dream vacation if money and time wasn't an issue. So I know Jody asked us this on an episode as one of our questions to lead off an episode, but we can go around and talk about, you don't have to worry about budget or time or anything. Where are you going, Lonnie?
Well, I'm going to focus this one because it was asked in the Disney podcast. So I'm going to focus on it and answer in a Disney-ish way. I don't know if that was Rhonda's intention, but that's how. So I would love to do an Adventures by Disney trip. I think those look absolutely amazing. The itineraries are just second to none. I just think I hear nothing but absolutely amazing things. Now they cost an arm and leg and all the rest of your body parts to go to, but I don't know, maybe one day I don't play the lottery, but maybe I'll inherit some money from some long lost relative and I'll be able to go on one. But yeah, I think an ABD trip would be pretty epic. And of course I'd probably want to go to the one in South Africa, but that's just,
And that's interesting because I was going to say the same thing. Adventures by Disney trip, because it's safe, they're going to organize everything for you. You're going to do all the fun stuff. So mine was going to be the same. It would have been an African adventure by Disney. I want to go though, like on a safari. So probably further north than where you're going, but same idea though.
Yeah.
So yeah. Kevin, where would you want to go?
I think probably the Galactic Star Cruiser. I think that would be pretty cool. That's one that, is basically like a several months of a mortgage payment to go. But
they've been dropping the prices lately.
Oh,
there are sales.
There are sales. And
maybe eventually it'll become a regular hotel that you can book and not have all the.
If that happens, I'll change my answer. But
so you want to go for the full experience then, huh?
Right.
Okay.
Just once.
That's a good, especially for someone who loves Star Wars so much. That would probably, that would be a good fit.
I think
Lonnie, where are you going to go?
Okay, so my answer is a little different. Like Jody, it is an Adventures by Disney trip, and like you, John, as well. However, I don't know if you guys remember this, but about 4 months ago, Adventures by Disney put out this special trip. It was Disney parks around the world, a private jet adventure.
Oh,
you remember that? And it was only for 75 people. It was 24 days. You went to 6 countries and included all 12 uniquely magical Disney theme parks, as well as 3 iconic adventures that you take on that as well. I'm sorry, the TV. Cut that out, man. So as well as 3 iconic landmarks: the Taj Mahal, the Pyramids of Giza, it's probably Giza, and the Eiffel Tower. So that's the one I would actually go on. But you know, the funny thing about it was everybody complains. I think it was what, $100,000?
$100,000 a person.
But it didn't even reach the general public because it
It's
booked
sold
up
out.
just by people that
Yeah.
already, you know, went on Adventures by Disney trip. They get the book earlier. So everybody was saying, this is crazy. Nobody's going to get it. And boom, it was gone. Like the first day or something like that. So that's what that'll be an Adventures by Disney trip I would want to go on.
I forgot about that one, Lonnie.
I did
That,
too.
yeah.
I
And
think
that is
I'll change my
amazing.
answer.
Probably because the commas involved before the number was there were so many numbers involved. I just didn't even occur to me to even dream about that. So
Oh, yeah. Hey, money's no option around the
yeah,
same.
that's
I
true.
will take
That's
you
true.
up
I
on that.
kinda, like, you know,
There you go. That's a great one.
But that would be awesome because the global Disney parks would be so cool to visit.
Oh,
we
yeah.
could find somebody. I mean, I don't know how, but wouldn't it be cool to find someone who went on that and interview them afterwards about their
Yeah.
experience?
Yeah.
So yeah, if any of our duck listeners have been on a trip like that, let us know and we'll
Or
have you
know
on the
someone who
episode.
wrote that.
Sure.
But also, I want you on the episode so we can become best friends and you can take me next time.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
reach out.
I'm the shortest of the group, so I can fit in the luggage. Just tiny and fit in there. You can fold me over.
Yeah, I would not. No. This a 6'2" man is not going to fold up into a carry-on.
The one time I'm glad to be 5'1".
Are you that short?
I am.
We've
Trying to
met
stop
before,
on-
and I don't remember this.
Yeah.
Wow!
I'm 5'1" and 3/4 on a good day.
Wow! Amazing.
Yeah.
Huh. See, we're learning new stuff about
I
each other.
know.
Even.
It's just vertically challenged.
All right. So Rhonda also asks the best pixie dust a fellow park guest has sprinkled on you during a trip. Lonnie, do you have any examples or any time that there's been pixie dust on a trip?
Hey man, nobody sprinkles me with nothing unless I ask for it. But no, I'm having a hard time thinking about.
I don't know. Maybe your fellow duck who gave you a cup of coffee after the night that you didn't sleep for 36 hours or whatever
Yeah.
else. Maybe
You
that
know
was
what?
a test.
Yeah, I was thinking a cast member. I didn't even think about that. I am
No,
so
I think
sorry.
she was asking a fellow.
Yeah, park
like a
another guest. Like,
Oh,
did anybody do
Yes.
anything cool?
Well, you know what? It's funny you mention that because there was this time that I went to Dopey and we didn't sleep literally the whole day. And literally we got to the hotel, slept for like 30 minutes and got up and had to go run a race. And I got sprinkled with some dust because Jody went buy me a cup of coffee. And that kept me running for that 5K. So I'm going to say Jody B's special coffee.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's a really good example of another park guest.
And that's for Gene too. I'm answering for Gene.
Okay.
And our new contract, we're not allowed to be on the same show at the same time. So that's why he's not on here.
It's kind of like
But-
Batman and Bruce Wayne. You never see them in the
Yeah.
same place. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So I'm just saying.
All right.
I'm going to follow up on Lonnie's and Jean's. And Jody definitely helped me out a lot this past trip. And one really cool guy got me into an exclusive club upstairs behind the Millennium Falcon. That was super cool. I'll never forget that. And then got me on my first time on Avatar Flight of Passage. That was fantastic. That was definitely some pixie dust.
Nice. All right, Jody.
I don't give Tim any credit for those though. So
We can't be nice to Tim. I mean, the guy's a Buckeye fan. Come on.
no, that would be misspelled. But
You don't have to go to his head. I mean, we got to keep
No,
everybody
I know.
grounded.
We gotta keep it
Yeah.
grounded.
Yeah.
I have seen some cool ones. Like I remember back in the old Fast Pass days, the ticket days, people would, if they weren't going to use theirs at the end of the night, they would pass up their physical ticket to somebody else. That's probably one of the coolest things that I've seen. But then we have given balloons. Sometimes you're getting ready to leave a trip and your kid has a balloon, and so you give it to another family. None of those have been big things, but it's still nice to be nice to other people. I know in some of the Facebook groups now, people will say like, "Hey, I'm checking out a such and such room, and I have a half a case of water left. Would somebody like it?" So those type of things I think are just nice. But I don't know that I've seen a lot of guest to guest experiences. I know Rhonda talked about some in there, but I haven't seen a lot myself. She said that for her, I remember her response on this, that she was having lunch by herself at Nine Dragons on her birthday, and someone saw her birthday pin and they paid for her lunch, which I just thought was so sweet.
That is
That's just
awesome.
That's just really cool. So
Yeah.
it's nice when people can be nice.
For sure.
It is. Yeah.
And I love Nine Dragons, Rhonda. You had a very good choice of a restaurant for your birthday.
I still have to try it.
I haven't either. What about you, John? Have you seen anything?
So I think for me personally, the best one that has happened to me is Carrie and Holly giving out the margarita.
Oh, there you go.
Of the marathon.
Oh, I forgot about that one
that
too.
was
That's awesome.
I mean, not only best pixie dust I've had at Disney, but that like made one of the best moments of my life just that much better. So that was pretty awesome.
And Holly braids my hair for the full marathon, or she has the last 2 years. So that makes me happy. So
they're getting a lot of love on this episode. But yeah, so
I want to give them some love too. That's awesome, John. You remember? Now I remember. You're right. That is special. Jody with the coffee on the first day and margarita on the last day. Thanks, Holly. Appreciate you guys. Team Margarita.
It's all about keeping you double fisted, Lonnie.
Yeah, those are fantastic.
You've got the upper hand and down right there. Perfect. All right. Rhonda has another question too. She wants to know Run Disney race theme that we would really like to see. So who's got one?
I want to kick it back old school. I want to pull out either like rides that no longer exist. So like a Mr. Toad run or something like that. So I either want to go way old school and do rides that have gone to the, rest in peace, Mr. Toad, or I want to go through some old classic movies, and I'm talking like old ones. Let's dust off some of those. This is where Gene would shine with all of his love of really old movies. And he loves the really classic Disney movies. But I think kicking it back really old school would be fun for races.
Awesome.
Plus, with the people, they're all out on Disney Plus now, so people can watch them all. And you can have a whole new merch thing with them, and all the excitement. And Disney can spin it so they can make a $1 kajillion off of it. But that's my idea.
All right, that's a good one. Kevin, what about you? What race theme do you really want to see?
Well, I'd always like to see Star Wars come back, but one that I've never seen is a villains race. I think that would be a really cool one where each race is a different villain. I think having that, I think they did a little bit of that with Wine and Dine.
Yeah,
they
did.
But yeah, I think there's a lot more they could do with that.
Yeah, that's one that I think a lot of people want to see because that would be awesome. There's so many good villains. All right, Lonnie, what are you thinking? What race theme you want to see come out?
I would love to see the Avengers come back. That's one they used to have them on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So I would love them to bring that back.
Do a super villain.
Hey, super villain will work as well, right? So bring those back. And didn't bring up. See, it's hard to do it at Disney World because of the whole Marvel on the East Coast thing.
Oh, that's true.
But if we can bring those back or just have those kind of throwback themes for the Disneyland races, the race that, to Jody's point, let's have some of the rides that went away, and then let's just have some of the races that went away. So maybe we can do the Star Wars, since that's no longer in, so we do that. And then the next one around, we'll do, Avengers races. And then the next go around, we do something else and just keep going that way. Because then you used to have what the Tinkerbell was in.
Tinkerbell, yeah.
Was in
Disneyland.
So we can do that one. So just alternate those. That'll be great.
Well, and Lonnie, your point about the Avengers, that's one I was thinking too. And honestly, that contract issue, that's a Bob Iger and Disney legal problem. That's not an us problem. So
you
know what? You're right.
They got to figure that out. So because people would go nuts, I think, over that. That would be amazing. Yeah. But what I want to see is a classic resort themes. So like Polynesian would be the marathon, Grand Floridian would be the half, Contemporary would be the 10K, Fort Wilderness would be the 5K, something like that. I think that would be really cool. And then you have the whole theme around the theme of that particular resort. So,
oh my gosh, can you imagine though what it'd be like to try to stay in one of those resorts?
Oh yeah.
That race? I mean, I think the prices would go.
Yeah, and they'd have all kind of unique merchandise and everything. It would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So that's mine. I would love to see it, mostly because I want a Polynesian medal. because I just love the Poly. All right. So next question is from Jake. How do you afford so many Disney trips? My wallet breaks just trying to go once a year. Like, Jake, this is America. Put it on a credit card and pay your interest for 30 years and then let your kids worry about it.
There you go.
As part of the estate.
Pay it forward, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. On my bed, I'll be like, my dying bed, I'll be like, son, I give to you Disney debt.
There's a timeshare you owe 20 grand on, and the credit card bills from the last 50 years of going to Disney. Yeah, I mean, Jake, honestly, how my family does it is we have DVC, so we bought into that because we found that to be worth it. And in the past, we did annual passes. Now we're cutting back on our Disney trips because it's gotten a little bit expensive. But yeah, I mean, that's how we've done it is mostly through DVC.
And I think budgeting is really good as well. I mean, you just kind of, you're doing a trip. DVC definitely helps out because that takes off the bulk of it, right? Which the room charge, and there's no parking, no taxes and all that kind of good stuff. You see how every year a Disney trip just goes up, right? You go back to our first trip and we stayed at the All Stars and it was like $89 a night. And now, your price is like $220, right? So DVC kind of, it's a lock-in, a hedge against that inflation, right? So, that kind of helps out a lot. And then annual passes. So you do those two things and invest. You're kind of good. It's more for what you're going to eat. And if you get a 1-bedroom, you have a kitchen, so you don't have to worry about that. So you can do Disney on the cheap if you do have an annual pass and a DVC or something like that.
Yeah. And that's how Disney gets you, I think, too, because then you can say to yourself, oh, we have points. We have these annual passes. Let's go. And then all of a sudden, you're eating dinner at Grand Floridian Cafe and Ohana.
Nine Dragons.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right.
I also pay a lot of attention to the gift card sales that they have throughout the year. So I know Best Buy had some over Christmas and Sam's Club had some over Christmas. And I think Target Red Card has
Target,
them.
yeah. 5% all the time.
I take advantage of those. And then I know the first day when we checked into Pop for marathon weekend, I went with like 6 different printed gift cards. And I was like, can you add these all to my account right away? So it felt like free money because I had already paid for it. But that way, if you're budgeting for a trip, you can buy a gift card. Maybe every time you go to Sam's Club, you buy a $200 gift card or something at a discounted rate. And then it doesn't feel so bad. I don't know. That's just... I mean, vacations are not cheap, but we're investing in memories for our children, right?
Yeah, and it's how you prioritize too, right? Like my family, we don't do any other real big trips. We do a couple weekends and stuff like that here and there. But I mean, Disney is kind of our vacation budget goes 80% to Disney. That's just how it is. Kevin, what about you? Any other tricks or anything?
Well, I'm kind of running low. I'm need to figure out how to grow another kidney since I sold that one to go the last several years. But anyway, no.
Is that why you were in the bathtub for so long?
Exactly. Yeah, that's why you're doing ice bath.
Kidney donation.
Man, that kidney is tinted after the last trip. So you can't even get rid of it, man. It's still got popcorn floating around there, man.
But seriously, one of the things that I do is the Disney Visa card. You get points on that, and then that can convert, into a redemption card. That helps save quite a bit. I mean, you'd be surprised how much if you use that card that you can rack up in Disney rewards. So
yeah, we're going on a cruise this summer, and I have almost half of it paid for from a Disney redemption or reward card from using my Visa card. So
well, and with that too, you can book your trip through Disney with that card, and it's 0% interest for 6 months.
I'm sorry.
But you can book your trip with that card, and it's 0% interest for 6 months. So if you take that $5,000, whatever, put it in your savings account, you get a couple percent. So there's a little bit of a benefit to you too. So yeah, there's a lot of good with that. I use that card too, and we get those points, and I love it because then I don't have to tell anybody. I can go to Tambu Lounge and get a couple Lapu Lapus, and I don't have to tell anybody because nobody's gonna see it.
There you go.
Whose dog was that?
I know that.
Kevin? It's crazy.
I don't think I have a dog.
All right.
Maybe somebody left the door open.
Yeah. Next question is from Julie, If Run Disney ceased to exist, would you continue to run? Quick yes
No.
or no. Lonnie, no.
No.
Kevin?
No.
Jody?
Yes.
I'm a yes too. All right. So there we go, Julie. We're split. I bet Jeff's gonna say no on that one. So probably Gene too.
Gene
all
doesn't
right.
run when he's doing Run Disney, so it doesn't make a. I'm gonna say
That's
no.
true. Terrible. Oh, all right. Jessica's got a question for us. Who's your spirit duck and why? So she's talking about Donald, Daisy, Huey, Dewey, Louie, maybe Scrooge or Launchpad. Or go deep and choose Della or an earlier generation. Jessica said she searched a bunch of personalities and ended up right back at Donald, usually easygoing, but has a redheaded temper, so her spirit duck is Donald. So what about you guys? Kevin, what's your spirit duck?
I'm Donald all the way. It's clumsy, I hurt myself and get all upset and hurt myself again, and the kids laugh at me, and
Yep.
Donald all the way. The Irish temper, all that. So
I couldn't have said it any better, Kevin. I'm the exact same. Like the kids, they make me mad, and then they laugh at me being mad, and then I get even more mad, and then I like step on a Lego, and
Yep.
it's so. Jody, what's your spirit duck?
Daisy. I can be a little bit girly when I want to be, but she can be a little sassy sometimes. She can have a little toot, and I can pull that out when I need to. But I try to be a team player. When you watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and all that stuff, she was kind of her and Minnie in their bow shop and that stuff. She was a team player for the most part, but I can be a little salty sometimes, and so can Daisy. So yeah.
Daisy is full of duck sass.
yeah, there you go.
She is.
Not duck sauce, duck salad.
Duck sass.
Yeah. I mean,
Just like Rhino on the Diz always says.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's a philanthropist. She's just awesome.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love her?
Yeah.
All right, Lonnie, what's your spirit duck?
I'm gonna go with Darkwing because I like to get dangerous.
Nice.
Kate.
All right. We got a good couple of good answers there.
That's a good
All right.
one.
Crystal is asking us our origin stories about when we first go to or first fall in love with Disney. I think we kind of answered that earlier. There was a similar question. So we've talked through that, but Crystal, thanks for that question. All right. Christopher is asking us, who is the most athletic? I've actually been thinking about this all day. And I think it's Jody.
I think so too. I agree. That's
I
my
don't think
vote.
it's a nice question to ask to try to rank friends in athleticism. So I'm not.
I don't
All
think
right,
there's really
okay,
much of a question
I'll
here,
do
to
it.
be honest.
Yeah, it's Jody. It's number one
Yeah.
because you could tell from her runs.
Right.
I
And
haven't
soccer and everything else.
Yeah, I haven't run since January 6th,
Me either.
7th, whatever day that was. I don't did I run the marathon? I don't remember, but no. So I haven't ran since then. I'm second. I'm gonna have to go with Jeff, not because he is, but he kept reminding us that he's an elite athlete at the whole, doing the whole literally marathon weekend. In fact, the first time he saw me, he was like, "Hey, FYI, I'm a elite runner."
Yes, he did
So
remind
I'm
us
gonna go
of
with him. Yeah. Then I'm gonna go with Crawl because he would still run even though Run Disney wasn't there. So I'm gonna give it to him. And since I was sick and Kevin was sick, I'm gonna put us toward the back, and then about 20 feet behind us, I'm gonna put Gene.
Terrible. Oh, all right. Katie asks us, what are Lonnie's photobombing strategies?
Oh.
How do you pull off so many perfect photobombs, Lonnie?
It starts early with training. I wake up at 5 each day, to hone my skill set. I just, I make sure I'm always, my head's on a swivel to look for people that are actually taking a picture. And then, once I see that person, then it's all about, how do I get there in time, because you got to time it perfectly. You don't want nobody to actually see you doing it. So, it just takes time and effort. That's a great question, Katie. Thank you for asking.
And let the record state that Lonnie has never photobombed me ever.
That you know.
Challenge.
That you know of.
I've gone through all my photos, so
I think that's a challenge to Lonnie. Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Dopey, you know what? I didn't really photobomb anybody.
I know. There's an asterisk on
weekend.
this.
There's an asterisk on this. This whole event has an asterisk on it. So
Yeah.
we'll catch you next time. Not at Dopey, at another event.
All right.
Because I'm done with Dopey.
No.
As of now.
There's going to be peer pressure. All right. Patrick asked us what I think is honestly probably my favorite question of all this. If you knew you only had one last Disney trip, what would be your perfect day? And I've kind of been thinking about this all day. So what I'm thinking all day is like, I'm going back and forth between, do I want to ride all the rides or do I not? And I settled on, I don't want to ride anything. I just want to walk through the parks. I want to go through all 4 of them, take in the ambiance, the music, the smells, just everything, eat some food, and then see Happily Ever After at the end of the night. And that's my perfect day at Disney, is just experiencing the parks and the soundtracks and everything else. So, Lonnie, one last Disney trip. What's your perfect day?
You know, Chrome, it's similar to yours, except I'm going to ride a couple, probably just 2 rides at park. I'm definitely going to go from park to park, but mine's going to be a little different because I'm going to spend most of my time probably in Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and then hopefully I'm going to plan it where I have an after hours event and I can go into Hollywood Studios, and then I can, you know, it'll be less people, and then I can ride everything in Hollywood Studios. I can do Tower of Terror. I can, you know, there's free snacks, so I'm going to probably eat my weight in Mickey bars, and you know, and it's just my last time. I will get the popcorn, even though I promise you I'm going to cut back on that a little bit. I will get it for that, and that will be my perfect day, my day at Disney. It won't end until 12:30 when after hours event ends, but that's it.
Sounds good to me. All right, Kevin, what's your perfect day? Perfect last day at Disney.
I would probably set it up. We had one similar to this, but I'd like to pull it off again and get my entire family, both sides, with all the kids and cousins, and all of us get together again and go, you know, just walk in the parks. The rides I'm not as concerned about. And then being with you guys, I mean, the most fun I've ever had at Disney has been running around with y'all. I mean, just
Lonnie's eyes are sweating. That's weird.
Throwing up.
it must be a onion.
Oh, it's dust in here,
hot
man.
in there,
Let me get my wife to come dust in here.
No, seriously,
Yes.
you guys make it a lot of fun, and so that's my perfect Disney day.
All right. That's a good one. Jody, what about you?
I think I would go 4 parks in one day, and because there are things that I love about each park that I would be sad if I didn't get to try. So I wouldn't try to do every single ride, but I would like to. But I agree with Lonnie. I'd want an after hours event so I could have all that time, and lots of coffee to keep me up, because it'd be quite exhausting. Maybe a change of shoes too, to get your feet into a different pair of gym shoes. But yeah, I'd try to do 4 parks one day.
All right. Sounds like all of us want to visit a lot of parks, even Kevin with the running. I mean, we're running through all 4 of them in the marathon. So yeah. All right. Next question is from Anne, and she says, I'd like to know some of the funniest stories of going to Disney with 5 kids. Well, okay. So we've only been to Disney with 5 kids, I think once or twice, because Crosby's only a year and a half old. So there's not a lot from just having all 5 of them, but, so, I mean, seeing me and my wife go through the airport with all of our kids, people have to just stand back and laugh. I mean, it's like literally she's pushing a double stroller that's piled up with stuff while holding a baby. Sometimes she's holding a toddler on her back. And then I've got just bags strapped all over me like I'm, a Sherpa or something. Yeah. Like I'm just a pack mule. And I'm like sweating and running and usually yelling at children. What are you doing? You can't grab things out of the store. And then we're going to the airport, come on, keep up. And yeah, it's just, there's a lot of yelling. There's probably a lot of choice words being spewed out there. Like one time we were going through TSA and we were running late because we had a flat tire that morning and it was middle of winter. And Katie's got Carly, who was our youngest at the time, she's our 3rd one, and we going through security. She realizes there was a diaper blowout, and it was all over my wife's sweatshirt. So we had to go through TSA, and the guy basically like looked at us, and
Like,
I've never, Yeah. And then we got through. Katie threw away her sweatshirt, threw away Carly's clothes, and yeah, it was. And we had to like run into the bathroom, wipe her down because we were late. We had a flat tire, so that one was one of the worst. And when we got back, I forgot where our car was, and it took me like an hour of just walking around the parking garage at Detroit Metropolitan Airport, pushing the stupid button, hoping it would go, you know? So, yeah.
That's why I can't wait for your trip report for this next one, man.
And that one, I'm going to be driving down with 4 of the kids by myself several days before my wife comes down with the baby.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Carly's like, here, take care of this.
Wow, that's a long drive. That's a long drive.
It's about 20 hours, you know, so it's gonna be great. So Chris asks us, where is the best place on Walt Disney World property to buy chewing gum? Well, Chris, you're not gonna find any gum on Disney property. I'm sorry, man. Which I'm sure you knew, and that's why you asked the question.
Yeah.
All right. And then what's the torque setting for the transmission mounting on a 1975 Ford Pinto? Kevin, you're the only engineer on the podcast, so
I tried to find it. I couldn't find it anywhere. I'm sure it's in a pamphlet in the glove box of a trashed Pinto in a junkyard somewhere. But I'm just going to say 125 foot-pounds and see what happens.
Kevin, I love that you actually tried to look this up.
Of course I did. That's me.
All right. So last question we have from our listeners is from Troy. And he asked, what's your favorite resort to stay at for Run Disney weekends and why? Anybody want to take the lead on this one?
I can start. It's maybe not the most luxurious hotel or resort, but Pop Century is very, very solid for a race weekend. The bus service, the food, being able to get in and out, get some food, being able to get to pretty much anywhere you want to go inside the bubble. I mean, it's a great spot. You got the Skyliner right there. I mean, it's once they got the Skyliner, that became quickly my favorite, especially for a run weekend. So
I was going to say the same thing, especially when you calculate or you factor in the price of that resort versus some other ones. And if you're coming down solo or, just with a group of friends, you can't beat Pop. It's got a great food court. The Skyliner is amazing. And you have access to a lot of the amenities over at Art of Animation too. So to me, it's the perfect place to stay for a race weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've stayed at Coronado twice and Pop twice, Coronado and the Tower for 2 different race weekends. And it's lovely and it was great. And the bus service there was great. I've actually heard not great things about some of the nicer resorts for race weekends, because I've heard about the bus. If it shares different resorts and maybe you're third in line, you're waiting a long time for the bus. So I've never had a problem with Pop. They've had 8 kajillion buses waiting in the morning for pickup. I'm staying at Riverside for Princess, so we'll see how that goes. I've never stayed at Riverside before, but because it's Princess and it's my princess's birthday, we want the royal room, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think Pop is. I actually even think now that we're DVC, I think we'd probably still stay at Pop because the price, when you look at points price and that price, I think it still is a better idea to save your points and stay at Pop. So.
Yeah, I did that, Jody. Last marathon weekend, I didn't use their DVC points because Pop. I mean, I think it was around $200 a night for the weekend, which is amazing for Disney, especially.
Yeah, and I agree with you guys. I've stayed at Riverside. I think you enjoy it, Jody. It's just, Pop's just to me the way to be. Literally, I love the Skyliner. To your point, Kevin, the food court. Jody has me hooked on those bacon, bagel, cheese,
and the tater
sandwiches now, and the tater tot. So
yeah.
I mean, that's awesome there. So yeah, I think Pop's just you get to 2 parks on the Skyliner. Pop's the way to go.
And Jody, your point earlier about some of the other resorts, like the deluxe resorts, we've stayed at Poly for Princess Weekend a few times, and one time it took us where it took me after the half marathon almost 2 hours to get back on the bus. It
Wow.
was insane. We were like, it took us a while to get loaded, and then we sat in traffic forever. It was crazy, like to the point where Katie thought something was wrong because I was in a like dead zone for my cell and I wasn't able to answer. So I mean, that's something to consider too. Is bigger resorts are going to have more buses and more frequency and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I think one I wouldn't want to be at is it's one of those ones like Caribbean Beach when you have a lot of different bus stops, right?
Oh, yeah.
We've heard
A
horror
lot of the
stories about
internal
that from some of our
I've been
lizard
there for
friends
that.
who's been there. Like I said, Riverside wasn't bad because they drop you off at the front. So where we were staying, I guess it was easier for us to get there. But and all
Coronado was the same because Coronado is huge.
Coronado was the
They only
same.
had one. They only had one stop for Run Disney race events. So if you were way out in the ranchos, you had to walk all the way up to the tower to catch the Run Disney bus. It didn't make the loop, at least for pickup. It didn't make the loop around the resort.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah. And all, and we talk about pop. It's a difference between pop and like the musics as well, and all-star music and movies, because with those as well, I mean, they're usually those buses get packed as well pretty quick. So yeah, pop to me, perfect.
Yeah, and it's to me like the price difference between pop and the All Stars isn't nearly enough to make you want to go down to the All Stars, right? So for me, I mean, pop just makes sense because for $20 to be at a much nicer resort that has the Skyliner, it's totally worth it.
Now, I will say I stayed at Boardwalk for the springtime surprise, and it was pretty good too. You still have to catch the bus, but the best thing about it is, hey, just the access to Epcot, right? You just walk into it. So basically, you have an international food court. So I really like that one as well. But like I said, if it's hard to get in there because that's a 7-month window for me, and I just had a wait list come through. So usually I will still book at a DVC, my home resort, but I end up still booking a room at Pop and going over there instead. So I kind of do this little trick when I wait list another one because I don't want to be at Animal Kingdom for it, even though I hear great things about it. I just never stayed at Animal Kingdom for a race. So, but Boardwalk Beach Club, I would do that too.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of good options there for the resorts that would be good to stay at for a race weekend. All right, so those are the questions we got from the listeners. So thank you so much to everybody who submitted a question to us. We really appreciate the engagement on our page, and it gets some good discussion going. And hopefully everybody got to know us a little bit better. Because I know that's always fun when I'm listening to a podcast and you learn personal things about the hosts. It makes it more of a personal experience, right? So thank you everybody for asking those questions. Okay. All right. So now we are going to go into the 1-year anniversary version of Quacking Up with the Ducks. And I don't know if any of us thought this was going to last. I don't know if we thought the show was going to last, but definitely did we think Quacking Up with the Ducks was going to last. And it's been one of my favorite parts. So because we're talking about an anniversary and it's a measure of time, my joke is, what's the problem with eating a clock? It's very time consuming.
And it's hard to, if you want seconds.
Yeah.
That was good.
Oh, a joke. I love it. All right. Lonnie.
Yeah, I got a question. What did the accountant say while auditing a document? This is taxing.
That's a good one for Jeff.
I did that for you, Jeff.
We're getting into tax season.
Yeah.
Well, we're into tax season. Oh, man. All right, Kevin.
So as an engineer, I'm always looking for ways to improve things. So I made a pencil with 2 erasers. It was pointless.
That's a good one. All right, Jody. Hopefully we're saving the best for last.
Oh, I don't know about that. But mine's, I was supposed to be celebrating football tonight, but unless I'm a little sad instead. But what did the receiver say to the football? Catch you later.
Oh boy. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening to us for a full year worth of weekly episodes. We really appreciate it. We're having a lot of fun doing this. Hopefully that comes across, you know, and I think a lot of our answers tonight were just the fun we have together hanging out once a week. So everybody come over to our Facebook page, Disney with the Ducks. Just join in some of the fun conversation there, provide tips to people, share pictures of your trips. Ask any questions you have too, and the community will help you answer it. And you can also give us a 5-star review. We really wouldn't mind if you took the time to do that. You know, if you want to give us a 1-star review, I would say just send Jeff an email, and you don't need to put anything star wise on the apples or any of the other places. But no, if you really love what you're listening to, share it with your friends, and go and give us a good review so others can find us. And with that, I think the only thing left to say tonight is Kwaherini.
Peace out, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
Bye, friends.
I figured.
Good idea.
Always thinking this guy. Oh, okay.
I didn't think we would hit a year.
No.
I didn't either.
I'll be honest.
Wait,
So,
I have a question. Has anybody gone back and listened to our first couple episodes? Because
It's
It's
hard.
not in a while. Are they bad?
Yeah, it is.
we really pretty much sucked. Like
It's bad. It's bad.
What's
It
bad?
really
The
is.
sound quality or us?
everything. We're all
Everything.
awkward. Nobody's comfortable. We're all, yeah, it's not fun.
We are
Well-
losers. We suck again.
We got a lot of practice, so we got better.
You got to start
Practice.
something, right?
Practice. I mean, we've done a lot of things though. So
Like Gene last week and me this week. Okay.
See, that's why you gotta just become a Lions fan. We don't have to worry about it losing in the playoffs because we don't make the playoffs.
playoffs. Playoffs.